stacks on her mind, grinding all day, hustle refined, shatter is ceiling, G steers and obtain, boss is a title, wealth is a game.
Discovered the song and thought it was such a fitting groove for the guest we'll be talking with today. What do you think of the song, Hiring Community? Are you feeling that song? I found the vibe so fresh, and of course the lyrics are fire. You just need to check out the lyrics. In one bar, not the bar you were listening to, but in one bar she says, got respect for her people because she leads them. Real life queen in the flesh. Know the crown gets heavy, still bees on your head. Brooklyn ladies, you know the hustle daily, innovating just like Donna Summer in the 80s. I love that. For those of you who know who Donna Summer is from the 80s. Woman to woman, I want to see you glow. I love how you go from 0 to 100. Wow, you need to download this one, community. You just got to go do that. And as soon as I came across the song, it resonated so much for you, Jennifer Seberras. This track was for you. It reminded me so much of what your incredible journey must have looked like. Hiring Communities, today's guest is someone who embodies courage, resilience, and reinvention. Jennifer Seberras built Simplify Supply Chain into a 7-figure business, became a recognized leader in her industry, and then she didn't stop there. She made the bold decision to sell her company. Now she's on a mission to help entrepreneurs and business owners grow with clarity and purpose through her new business, which I'm going to get her to tell you about. Jennifer's story is one of knowing how to build, knowing when to pivot, and how to create a business that fuels not just wealth, but also freedom and fulfillment. Jennifer, welcome to the Hiring Women podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
I really saw you grooving over there. This song, as I said, was like fire. And I think just your journey is such a amazing journey of, stepping into the fire and, making it bigger in a way and kind of going, okay, I did that. I'm going to do something else. So take us back to the beginning. How did Simplify Supply Chain actually start? And what were some of the key decisions that helped you scale to 7 figures? It's not easy to do.
No, not at all. Well, Simplify was born out of, working in an industry that has a lot of red tape. And, coming from a logistics and transport background, if you wanted to move any goal forward, it took forever and 50 meetings. And I really wanted to simplify that. And that's where Simplify came from.
Well, I can imagine the amount of challenges you must have faced in what is a male-dominated industry. So tell me a little bit about that. What was it like to be a woman in that supply chain world?
Yeah, I mean, it was, you're always going to get pushback when you're the new kid on the block. We were very strategic for when we started, when I started the delivery side of the business, was to kind of stay under the radar before our competitors could come in and scoop up our customers. So we really stayed under the radar. We got customers that we thought would be a good fit. And then we just provided the service that we said we were going to. And so by the time our competitors figured out who they were, who we were already established with our customers.
Yeah, out at the gate already. That's amazing. That sounds like somebody who's very proactive. So you clearly came in with a plan. So let's talk a little bit about what your money mindset would have had to be. And if you actually had to make a shift when it comes to your money mindset to help your numbers grow, tell me a little bit about your money mindset journey as a business owner.
Yeah. So
how did you help it? How did you help your numbers grow in that industry?
Yeah. So I think like most entrepreneurs, I was, from when I first started, I was self-funded. Nobody would touch me, no banks, as any entrepreneur knows. And so I was self-funded, and I was very lucky with the people that I had around me as well. So when I was thinking, I was never led by money, because I find that when that is your sole purpose in the decisions you make, sometimes it can constrict you a little bit, and almost the fear of moving forward with something, because, there is going to be a cost. I think that can be prohibitive for some people. For us, I think for me, the money mindset was, to make money, you've got to spend money. And one of the things that really set us apart is when we brought in refrigerated service into our services outside of just the regular deliveries. That's what set us apart from our competitors, because we had that competitive advantage.
Wow. So it wasn't about just making money. Again, purpose is so interesting, right? Because you were like very clear that the money can't drive you. Obviously, you need to understand money, but it can't drive you. And you had that investment mindset that to make money in your business, you also have to spend money in your business. So let's talk about what was the hardest part of walking away from a business you created that you clearly had such passion for?
Well, for so long, I think I saw myself as transportation. I've been in transport for 20 years. It was something that I, breathed and I loved it. And I had my own business for about 11 years. And the hardest part for me was recognizing that although I had built a beautiful business, that it was time for me to move forward. I had a health issue a couple years previous, and it really put into perspective kind of that as much as I loved what I built, I found my purpose with a little bit, I felt a higher purpose to kind of help women. And that is kind of really what was the thing that kind of pushed me forward, was just kind of going, as much as I loved what I built and I'm very proud of it, I had another calling.
Healthcare has a way of doing that, right? Like of putting what your focus should be, because it's pretty much all consuming when you face a health challenge. So that's when you made the shift to deciding to help women. And just before we go into your new business, I'd love to understand, because it's a money show, how do you prepare yourself financially? It sounds like you were preparing yourself emotionally, but how did you prepare yourself financially for the exit? And maybe there was other emotional things you dealt with as you got closer to selling your business.
I think it was just being mindful of crossing your T's and dotting your I's, just making sure that, we were very fortunate because of the way that our operations were. We weren't super heavy with, because a lot of it was my own money. So it was just kind of being knowledgeable of, talking to the right people that were in that, making sure that when we did do the sale, that, everything was where it was supposed to be. And yeah, so I was very fortunate that I had a lot of great people around me, but that I prepared. I had a couple of years to kind of take a look at where we were going to be, make some cuts to some things so that we'd be more profitable as we were kind of shifting, because, as you know, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a couple of years to kind of be prepared to do that. So just being mindful and being around the right people, listening to people about that know much more about money than I did, and what I had to do to prepare for the sale.
So it's about the right team, clearly finding the right person who understands your industry, and really giving yourself time financially to prepare, to make sure your business financials, your kind of company's coming, and you're putting your company in the best light forward, so that you're getting the best price, it sounds like.
Yes.
For your business as well. And then trusting that, because sometimes I think people sometimes lose sleep. Or did I make the right decision? And it sounds like you were confident in your decision because you had the right team.
Yeah. And one of the things I was always taught is, you really know how you feel about something once something is done, right? Once something's completed. And again, I thought it did take me a while to transition from transport and waking up at 4:00 in the morning and always being on. But it was, I was prepared, I was ready, and I was excited for it. And like I said, I can't stress, having the right people around you that can really guide you is so important.
Any advice you'd give for a woman who might be at the beginning of that journey of considering selling their business?
I think be realistic, look at your books, understand where you're at in the business. When it comes to the sale of a business, you have to be full transparent. And so just making sure that you're working with the right people, making sure your numbers make sense, and being okay with if you do have to shift a few things before the sale. So getting rid of any really any overages you don't need to really optimize your operations.
It sounds like you need a good CFO. The way you say that, I just think to look at your numbers, to make sure you're intimately understanding all the numbers,
Yes.
to make sure, again, your financials are as strong as they possibly can be, and looking at ways you can make them improved on the sale. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And here it is. After you do all of that, you sell your business. This is a woman high earning community who does not know how to sleep. She says she gets up at 4 a.m. She probably still gets up at 4 a.m. from what I can see. But instead of retiring after your exit, you go ahead and you step into a new role as coach and mentor. Who does that? So tell us about your new business venture and what inspired you to start this new chapter.
Yeah, so I realized that I couldn't retire. I'm just not built that way. And that's okay. And that took me a while to kind of be okay with that because I thought I'd be sipping, margaritas on a beach. But then I realized I don't like beaches and I don't drink margaritas.
I was going to say, it's an acquired taste, but trust me, you can learn.
But yeah, and so for me, it just,
that's what you took off, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I took a total of 2 weeks, and I really just looked at my husband. I was like, I can't, I don't know. I need to do more. And he said, all right, then do it. And for me, it was really talking to other women because I was able to, because I went from working with all men. I was the only female asset-based female entrepreneur, transport owner in Ontario, solo owner. And so I went from working with all men to working with all women. And so when I started going to these events and I would talk to women, it would be a lot of, I saw there was gaps, and I also heard it as I was building my business, and I felt it. And so when I started LeadershipHub.ca, it was really to be the person I wish I had. One of the stories I tell is, I remember when I made my first $1 million, it was sitting in my checkings account. And I remember looking at it and I went, okay, great, made $1 million, and I moved on. Yeah. The problem with that is you shouldn't have $1 million sitting in your checkings account.
You should not.
Right?
No.
Right?
Says the financial planner. Yes.
Right? So, but at the time, I didn't have anybody that was around me that kind of understood that. Even some of the professionals, they didn't deal with businesses that were in the millions. And so understanding that, that sounds like a great accomplishment, which it was, but also understanding like, hey, I need to make money for me.
That's right.
And so understanding it and being okay with saying, hey, I need a little bit of help. So that is who I am for my clients, is helping them understand or putting them in touch with the right people, but helping them understand what they can do with money, but helping them understand that they can grow their business. So whether it's growing from 50,000 to in the multi-millions and scaling, I've been there. And so it's not just about, helping when there's challenges, but it's also celebrating our wins, which I think, especially as women, we're told we can't do.
Yeah. We had a conversation earlier today on our team Jackie Porter page, where we talked about women needing permission for everything, including, as you said, celebrating their wins. And I was just thinking about it when you were talking about the person that you wished you had in your own business when you were going through it is the person you want to be for women. It's kind of like you're their business fairy godmother. You got you just need your little wand, Jennifer, and then you're like off to the races. Because I think, women often, and I belong to a business mentorship group, and we meet every month and we talk about our challenges, because you often feel so alone, and you would have felt so alone in a male-dominated industry like Simplify Supply Chain. And I'd love to know, just based on all of your passion for women, how do you define success now compared to when you were building Simplify Supply Chain?
Peace. Yeah. Peace. I am extremely blessed to be in a position in my life where I'm very happy. I get up and I help other women. And it just brings me so much joy. You know, I have my clients that, you know, success to me now is, you know, I have clients that will call me after we've made a decision and they need to talk to their team, and very strong, you know, competent, smart women. And they'll call me because they go, I just need to hear that I'm all right. You know, I'm sitting there going, you're all good. We've crossed our T's, we dotted our I's. You're going to get pushback, but you need to know who you are. You need to know that you've made this decision. You want your team on board, but ultimately you've made this decision. You have a game plan, and you know, just really being their cheerleader in tough times like that. And that's what success is to me.
And I absolutely get that. I think in finance, women, very successful women, come to me all the time seeking permission, right? Like, can I still do this? Like, go do it. It's your business.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's amazing to be able to be that for people, because it's like you're their business fairy godmother, you're the shoulder to cry on, you're all these different things to someone who sometimes feels like they're doing it alone.
Yes.
And I would also love to know the mistakes that you see women entrepreneurs make and how you help them avoid it. Because you talk about, one of the things I love that you talk about is, you know, helping potentially women, because we're savers. Women often are savers, showing them that sometimes you have to spend money to make money. I love that. So what are some other common mistakes you might see female entrepreneurs make?
Yeah, I think it's really important. One of the biggest things that I say is talk to somebody who's been there. I think it's very important for women to talk to people that have actually experienced it. There's differences between reading books and all that's great, but there's certain nuances as entrepreneurs that only other people that have been there truly understand. The other thing I would say is, you know, the people that you are surround yourself with, not just professionally, personally, is huge. You need cheerleaders. Even if what I tell my clients is, you need people that are going to be so into your dream that even when you have hiccups, because you will, and that's okay, they need to be your cheerleaders. And the last thing I tell people as well is, I tell them that you need to be confident in yourself. You're smart. You wouldn't have gotten here if you didn't know what you were doing. And you need to be able to stand in that crowd, office, wherever you are, and you need to understand that you were put there for a reason, and don't let anybody else knock you off. So that's one of the most important things.
So let me make sure I got the list here. It's surround yourself with people who've been there, who've walked the walk, not just read the book, but walk the walk. How do you find those people? Where do you suggest that they look?
Yeah, I think get outside of your regular circle. I remember when I started Simplify, I went to all these transport things. They all knew what I knew. Right. I needed a CFO. I needed marketing. I needed all these people. So get outside of your circle, ask some people if they know somebody. And what I would tell them as well is we were talking earlier about, what's, the difference with women. And for me, when working with all men to all women, is I started going to these things and it was all like, rah, rah, rah. That's great. But where's my action plan?
Yes, exactly.
Right? And so you need to have people around you that can help with you. So not just give you suggestions, but actually give you the steps on how to achieve your goals.
Agreed. So I think it's getting out of your comfort zone based on what you're saying, to seek out those people and ask for help. Something, again, women always, we need support on is being good at asking for support, because we usually are the support, but we have to also give ourselves permission to get support. Ask for people. If we don't have the people who can help us, seek them out. And the second thing I'm hearing is finding that team, creating that team of people who can be your cheerleaders, a business coach, mentors. As I said, I belong to a women presidents group because I need those. I have a business coach as well. I absolutely believe in the things that you're really showcasing to women that they need. And then finally, you're enough, women. Like, do we really need to still hear this in 2025? We are enough. We don't need another credential. We can show up in the room confidently, is what I'm hearing from you. And know that everything that we've learned so far gives us the right to step confidently in our shoes.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. And I'd love to also know, what would you say, just because, we are a money show and we're talking about money here.
Mhm.
I'd love to have you talk a little bit about what financial freedom might mean to you today, because you talked a little bit about peace. So I suspect it has something to do with that. But because this podcast is about helping high earning women create the life they truly deserve, what does financial freedom mean to you today? Does it still mean peace?
Oh, yeah. It means peace. It's financial freedom for me is being able to do what I love, being able to give back to the organizations that I love, being able to focus solely on women. That is, that's, I'm getting rid of 50% of the potential clients, right? So with men, right? So, that to me is financial success, being able to really do what I like to do every day and put my efforts into growing the causes and the people that I think are phenomenal.
Well, you kind of summed it up earlier when you said it's never really just been about the money for you. And being able to be in a financial situation where you can focus on the things that you want to focus on is freedom, ultimately, right? So I think that's really when we talk about living the life that people deserve, is being able to make an impact in the areas that you care about because you're financially successful enough to do that. So I'm excited for you that you're in this I want to say season of your life. So enjoy the season. So changing gears before we close up, I want to go to some fire round questions. So Jennifer, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So the biggest lesson that you've learned around money on your own 7-figure journey?
The biggest lesson I've learned is don't always use your own money. If you can borrow money and use other people like banks and stuff, do that.
Yes, I love that. OPM is what I like to call it. Don't be afraid to go find yourself some other people's money instead of your own money. That's when you really can leverage and grow. So I'm thrilled that you mentioned that. A risk that you took in business that scared you at the time, but completely paid off?
Putting refrigerated units in my fleet was absolutely terrifying, expensive, but 100% paid off.
Invest money. You got to invest to make money. I love it. Again, a 7-figure rule, I would say you got to invest to make money. You got to spend money to make money. So hope you guys are taking notes. High earning community. Final question. And this, I think, kind of relates to what you were saying about your legacy and women. But when you do think about your legacy, what impact do you most want to leave behind for women in business?
I just want women to know that they're good enough. I want women to know they can achieve anything. I especially want women to know that it doesn't need to be, you can, when you make money, you can spend it on what you want to spend it on. It can be a good cause. It could be a great pair of shoes. No one dictates that other than you. And dream big. Dream big, and if you can't dream big, get people around you that can dream massive dreams with you.
Yes, and that's where your network is your net worth, right? So, Jennifer, your story is such a powerful example of building, scaling, and then all of a sudden, just not all of a sudden, but then bravely pivoting into something new. And I want to say, for listeners who want to connect with you and learn more about your business, where should they go?
Yeah, so they can check me out at LeadershipHub.ca. They can check me out, LeadershipHub.ca or js@LeadershipHub.ca. And I'd love to chat with anybody that just needs a buddy by them as they grow and scale.
Amazing. We'll put all of this in the show notes. And if they want to reach out to you, is there an offer that you make to begin with if they want to just have a conversation to see potentially how you can help them?
Yep. So I have a 30-minute consultation that they can book directly on the website.
Amazing. Amazing. So do not sleep on this offer to talk to a 7-figure earner who's figured out how to scale, sell, and now dedicate to the things that she actually loves. Community. Go grab that. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. And to all of you listening, remember, Your journey with money and business is not just about the numbers. It's about creating the life you deserve. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Hiring Woman podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please share it with another powerful woman in your circle. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories and practical insights. And also feel free to DM us if you need support on your financial journey. Remember, money is power, and you deserve to own yours. Thank you again for joining us, Hiring Community. Until next time, keep building, keep earning, and keep living the life you want. Be in touch soon. Take care, everybody.
She's fierce and untamed. Boss is her title, wealth is her game. Power in heels or sneakers on deck. Respect comes easy.